So let me play this for you. Okay, so not bad for half an hour's work. The only thing I did different with this was that at measure 7, instead of going back to 4/4, I made a few measures of 3/4, of 2/4, I mean, right up to measure 13, which then is 3/4. Okay, let's see. So now, I did a piano sketch because I'm showing you. Whoa, are we still here? There we go. Okay. Because I'm showing you one way to work, right? And then next week I'm going to show you a different way to work. But this is this week. So what I tend to do before I get a big project these days, or when I was doing it last, was like maybe the last 10 or 15 projects I did, which were series for Peacock, a bunch of things for ESPN, and a few other things in that vein. I'm having things for the Kennedy Center. I wrote what are called demo suites, and I would write like a 5 to 7 minute piece of music that contained all the themes and all the ideas based upon conversations, script reading with the directors and everything. And then once that got approved and we went through it and I told them what I was thinking, and they liked it, what I would then do is I would make a quick score so that I have it as a reference, right? So, like for example, I have this here, which is this bit that we've just watched. So if I were to play this again, okay. So one thing about a trailer is you want it to be moving forward, right? So I've got these 16th note pulse because we're at 60 beats a minute. So the 16th note pulse also at the beginning reminds me of a train a little bit, right? And then I do things to change the rhythms and have some spots where there's a little bit of a pause. And then here I have these grouped up into, I wanted this ascending line here. Oh, that should be, I could clean this up. I could spend an hour and clean it up and make it look professional. Like this should really be yeah, they'll leave it as a G sharp, even though there's an A flat here. But so right here, we've got the 16th note line that's ascending, right? So my accompaniment is a quarter note, and then a dotted 8th note and a 16th note. And then right here, so in other words, a dotted 8th note, and then the time from here to here is also a dotted eighth note, and it starts on the second beat. And then on the fourth beat, we land right back on beat 4 with the accent. And then I've got these chords, quarter notes. So in other words, I am like subdividing the measure and throwing and not having it be so regular. So one ba 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 ba. That's the accent there. Ba 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 ba. Right? And then the scale goes up, right? And then it has the points where it goes back down a little bit and goes up, and I'm leading up to this chord here. And then there are a few other spots where I break things up a little bit. Like this actually should be a dotted eighth note, and this should be a quarter note, but that's all right. I know I can listen to it. And then I've got these interesting chords here, or notes here, right? So it's a D flat chord over a G. And I got that. That's something I stole off of Keith Emerson. It's in one of his, not that figure, but that chord. I first heard it there. It sounds like a Stravinsky-esque chord, you know. And then I have these areas here, like this area here. There's no right, like leave a very a hollow sound. It's just a F with a C chord above it, and then a D minor chord almost above that. Right, those polychord things. Yeah. So I have this, and why I have this now is that I can reference this as I orchestrate from this, and I can keep it open. I could print it out and have it right next to me. I'm going to leave it on another screen because I've got 3 screens here, but I would typically print it out, and then I would have it right there. So do you know, anybody know how to get a score from Pro Tools into Sibelius? Or into any notation? Okay, so here you go. There's 2 ways to do it. I'm going to show you both ways, all right? Okay, so one way is that you highlight the track you want, and then you go right here to export MIDI, right? And then just export it as a standard MIDI file, and then you would call this navigate for your folder. Whoops, sorry, hold on. This, like I would put it in the score files folder. Whoops, Vincent SMF. So does anybody know what SMF stands for? Whoops, Lovin' Vincent. Come on, man. Standard MIDI file. Save that. So that's one way. All right. So then if I open up Sibelius or any other notation program, open, right? And then navigate to your folder. Open this up. Now, we may have to, I'm going to put this to landscape. We may have to get rid of some tracks, which is okay. No. Okay, so see how it opens up, right? And it actually should be it should be left hand and right hand. Let me do that again. Because I made a boo-boo when I imported it. So you could import the markers as hit points, right? You could do or you could not choose to do that. I don't need to have that, right? All right. Keep track names. Great. So I guess I didn't do something wrong. Okay, so it's got all these things. We don't really need to have these in. It would be better if this was on 2 tracks. So you know what I'm going to do is, let's see, you'd have to go through and just clean up all this stuff and make a left-hand part. And what you would do is you would go and you would add, add piano, add to score, right? And then you would just go through here and spend like 20 minutes copying and pasting the left hand and the right hand of the appropriate staff. Okay, that sucks. But sometimes that's all you have. Now, the one good thing about Pro Tools and Sibelius, and trust me, even though I'm a Pro Tools user, I could tell you all sorts of things I don't like about Pro Tools, and especially Avid, the company. But what you can do is I can open up the score editor up here, right? And it will show me the score. And it'll come up with whatever tracks you've got in the session, right? But I don't need all these tracks, so I'm going to get rid of them by going up here to my tracks list and just deleting them. And then I'm going to rename this track. So and I can leave it that way. So what you would do is you would right click and you'd go to score setup, and then you put in the name and the composer, right? And let's see, what if I did it landscape? Oh, that looks nicer. Okay, so I'll do it landscape. And then if you right click again, send to Sibelius. And it doesn't send it directly to Sibelius, but what it does is if you go to the score files, right, it says Mini Grand because that was the name of the track. We'll fix that. Right, that was the name of the piano track. So I'll open this up, and that's much better, right? So I can get rid of this. And then I can change the layout to landscape if I want. And then I'll go over here to the end, and I'm going to delete that track. And I'm going to select this last track, and then I'm going to hit the Enter key to get rid of those ties. And then you just clean this up, right? It take 5 minutes and clean it up. So in other words, for example, right here, that should be a dotted eighth note, and then these two should be enharmonically different. So just hit the return key. That should be a quarter note, and then hit the return key, and then these should be flats. So hit the return key, right? And just go through the score quickly. Like right here, this should be a quarter note. So just hit one of those and hit 4. And then if you wanted to, you could take these and put them in the bass, in the left hand, and then add a treble staff here if you wanted to. But these right here, I'm just going to make those all quarter notes. This is a quarter note. Great. And then I want this all to fit on one page. So I'll make it like 6 millimeters. And there you go. Right. So that's nice. This should be a quarter note also. And you have this to refer to, and you can orchestrate off of this. So then what I would just do is print this. And I'm going to put it back in my score files. I'll call this Loving Vincent Landscape Sketch. Right, and then save this. Great. Okay, then I don't need this anymore, so I can quit out of Sibelius. And then I can open this up, and then I can have this here to orchestrate from. So that's something that you can do. You don't need to do that, but I find that helpful. Like I could have gone through, like this is a C sharp, that should be a D flat, that should be a G flat, right? So I could have gone through and cleaned this up and made it a little better, but I'm pressed for time here, given how much stuff I want to get through. Additionally, if you wanted to, right, you could keep this page open on a second screen, right? But what happens is that I don't like to this will start adding staves from the other stuff that you're writing. So and then that uses up processing power. So I'm not going to use that, but I am going to open up here this. Okay? All right. So I've got my score here. Now, just for fun right now, if I double click on this, it'll open up the edit page, and then I can make that into notation as well, and just leave this down and make this window smaller so it's not in the way. So these are all the things that you can do. Right? So you can leave that there, and then you can, you can zoom in on that so you can see what's going on. All right, so we've got here 3 parts. We've got this top part. Right? Then we've got this inner thing that's eighth note pulse. And then we've got, oops, I'm sorry. Let me make this a little bigger. This is not. And then also, see this little red dot here? If you click on that, then this won't like change to whatever instrument you start playing. Then we got the bottom line. So we've got tenths on the outside. Right? And then we've just got this. So we have to decide what we want for our top line, right? And I'm going to start this off with pitched percussion. Okay, so let me play around with some sounds. And now I'm only using free or comes with Pro Tools sounds. All right, I'm not using my expensive, fancy orchestral libraries. I'm not using any of that stuff because that's not what you have. And I want to show you that you can get a really good result from these free or what comes with Pro Tools. All right. It's more important that you learn the skills and the concepts rather than going out and spending money when you're not making money from this, right? That's why there's no textbooks. That's why the only cost to you for all the MAP classes is a little MIDI keyboard. And for 1 year, the second year of these classes, for DRAC 1 and 2 and Audio MIDI 2, that you do a subscription to Pro Tools for a year, right? So, we're talking like under like $150 worth of expenses for a 2-year program. So I think that that's okay, right? So I wanted, because, look around my studio here. I've got probably in this studio, between my microphones, my rack gear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 synthesizers, guitar amps, guitars, hard drives, audio interfaces, video equipment, speakers, computers. I probably have in my room here like 40, and then all my sample libraries. I probably have like $60,000 or $70,000 worth of stuff just in this room, right? And then I've got like a $95,000 piano in the other room, right? So, but I didn't buy all that stuff when I was your age, and so you guys are students. Some of you are working as teachers during the day and getting your master's degree, but I'm very conscious of the fact that you're students and you're on a limited budget. And my thing is to show you how to get the most out of the least amount of money spent. All right? So, yeah. Okay, so that's okay. I'm not sure I like that. I think I'm going to do that, all right? All right, so I'm going to set Pro Tools to have a 1-bar count off right here. All right. Oh, I want to mute, and I might use the piano. You know what I mean? So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to double the piano. I'm going to duplicate the piano track and not put a playlist in it. So in other words, I'm going to turn this off and this, and it'll just put the piano track in there, and then I'll mute this right now so I don't hear it. So I might want to use piano in this, piano and harp. That might be good. So maybe I'll drag this down into this area here. Okay, so let's start from the beginning again. Oops, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, great. So let me take what I'm going to do. I would take my time and do a better performance. All right, but I want to get through this quickly, so I'm gonna start quantizing stuff. But when I quantize, like I taught you guys last semester, never quantize at 100%. All right, 85 to 90% is good. All right, it just gets it closer to the grid. Now, actually, what I could do with the piano is, so notice, I like that, right? So, right. Okay, so now I'm expanding the orchestration, right? I'm seeing what's there and I'm getting creative. I'm thinking about what I could add to it. So I already played that, but Pro Tools has something called retrospective record. So now it's in there. And let me quantize that. What I'm also going to do with this, right, is I'm going to make it softer velocity. And I'm going to take all of these middle notes and bottom notes, right? I'm going to lasso them. So notice I'm mixing and cleaning up my performance, and I'm going to bring the velocity down so the top note is what's really... Oh, let me take from the top again. It didn't get my sustain pedal, right? So, I could hold the sustain pedal down, but what I also can do is I can lasso all of these, right? And then use the trim tool right here and then just stretch these out. So that there's something like that, right? Okay, great. Let's go back to... our score here. And let's see, what else do we need? So we need something on 1 and 3. Right? I mean on eighth notes. So, well, I've got something on the right. Let me just see what happens if I use the celeste. Let me try marimba. So I'm expanding out on the orchestration one, right? I like that. Let me just see if that'll work. 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, that's I'm gonna have to change that in the second measure. Whoops, quantize that, right? And then also, bring down the velocity. Okay, I like that. I might need another strings, but let me just play around with this next measure here. Oh wait, I still need the lower pitch, right? So let's see. I think that could be the celeste does that lower pitch. Yeah. Okay, so I need to get over there before the page change. And again, I'm going to quantize this quickly. And so I've got the grabber tool. If I hold down Command and hover, you'll see that it turns to a, right? I've got the grabber tool selected, which is the hand. Zoom in using my zoom here. And then hold down the Command key, hover. They're all selected and drag down. And you see that number there? I'm bringing the velocity down because I want it to be softer. You see that? How much better that sounds now? Right? So this is a big thing that I'm showing you here, is that I'm working and I am mixing and creating a performance as I'm writing. It's all part of the package. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now we're over here, right? Let me see. Okay, I got something there. That's kind of cool. So now let me show you a little trick I do. Turn the count off. I go right here and I turn this on. That's MIDI merge. And then I start from a measure per earlier here, and I just hit record. It's not going to erase what you've already played. All right? Hopefully I can remember that. Ugh. But I can fix that. Oh, now we're over at measure 3, right? Right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just duplicate this right here. Oh, let me delete this. That one we don't need. And then again, we're going to go back to looking at MIDI. And I'm going to lasso all of these. Right. And this one I don't have to lengthen because it's got my sustain pedal, right? So it's sustaining. And then again, hold down the command key and then click and drag down. Okay, great. So now let me... Oops, I need to get rid of that one note. Okay, so the celeste is doing the bottom part, so I'm at measure 5. So it's playing this. So I'm looking at my score over on the side there. I could pop that in the chat if you guys want to look at it while I'm working, because it's getting, having that little window open is getting on my nerves. Okay, so I am at the so okay. 1, 2, 3. Great. So that's as far as I got. And again, and the other thing you can do with velocity is you can go here and you could change velocity, and then you can subtract, 20, right? Great. Oh, let me open my phone. Yeah, I like that. Just change the pattern up a little bit. I just don't like the last note, so I'm going to get rid of that. And it's a little loud, so I'm going to bring the volume down on that. So I'm looking at the, right, so I'm going to expand that a little bit with the marimba. Yeah, something like that. Right, so I like that. And let's bring down that velocity so it blends in a little better. And then, good. And then get rid of that for right now so I don't have to keep hearing it. Let's see, what are we going to do with the piano? Let me take a look at what's going on there. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to change register with the piano there, right? Because it's a little bit of a drunk confrontation. And so I'm just going to demark that. So again. No, one more time. So taka tuki da, right? Taka tuki da, tuki da. All right, I have to clean that up. And make those really soft. That one can be a little louder. That was too loud. I don't know. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not really committed to that, but I'm just going to see softer. Not bad. Okay, so let's see. Possibly. Let's see what that sounds like. Possibly. So this is the Orchestral Tools Berlin Free Orchestra, and I like this because it's got 2 velocity layers, so you can do much nicer crescendos using the mod wheel, right? So in other words, my friends, whoa. So as I play that, I have this little doodad here, which has all the same functions and more. Right. Yeah, I've got all these programmed, and then I made little sticky things right here to tell me what MIDI numbers they're spitting out. But all your keyboards have some sort of mod wheel or a ribbon that you can do this with, or you can just draw it in afterwards, which I'll show you how to do next. But anyway, okay, so let's right here, I'm going to open this up. Whoops. Great. Now with strings, I'm not like sustained strings. I'm not going to go crazy with quantizing because, it's they're lazy anyway. So go to mod wheel, right? And then you can draw in a little crescendo like that. Whoops. The other thing is there's expression. Oh, that's a sustain pedal. Mod wheel. What's up with that? Right. Just, yeah. Okay, and then we land here. Let me just see something here. Okay, so yeah. So okay, so I'm going to play that top line, which is this here, with a short winds, and then I'm going to play longer winds with these bottom two notes, right? So I got to do that on 2 different tracks. So let's see. That's right at measure 6. Okay. Whoops, that last note's not right. Okay, and then now if I go to winds long, and I'll be playing just like that, right? And I may orchestrate these out to individual instruments later, but let me just one step at a time. Okay, so we're going to start a little beforehand. So and I'm going to go back and work on the dynamics there. Excuse me, one more time. Okay, so velocity. Right, Yeah, that there I'm not crazy about. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Now, I'm just going to fill out that last chord here with some brass, really quiet brass, right here, right? And an octave lower. So when you get those trombones in this register, they sound almost like a choir. You know, it's beautiful. Okay, so let's see. I'll play that in. And then let me go back. And what I've got, remember, I've got this set for MIDI merge. So I'm going to go back. One more time. And I'm doing my dynamics here. Right? And then I can also do volume right here with this one here, which will help as well. Yeah, that's much better. So what I did there was I did mod wheel, right? Just a little bit here, and maybe I could do a little bit more now that I've played around with the expression. And so I can use both of those in concert. Yeah, and leave a little space at the end there. Don't have it go all the way to the bar line. No. Great. Okay. Right. You see how it's taking shape now? It's really it's taking on some character. Now, look, I've been doing this for 25 years, right? And just like you play an instrument for 25 years, you work at it, you practice it. I mean, there have been 6-month periods of my life where I would be working 10 or 12 hours a day scoring films, right? You know, just like starting at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning with headphones on, to not wake up my wife, and just work until about 8, take a break, walk the dog, you know, come back at like 9:30, start again and work till 1 and take a little break. You know, like I did this for months and months and months at a time. And you develop muscle memory and skills and concepts and ways of doing these things really quickly, right? And so I don't expect any of you to be able to do this as quickly as I am, but if you're, I'm trying to impart the concepts, and you do what you can with what you are able to do, you know. But let me just tell you another thing is that if you ever want to pursue this as a career, notation is great. knowing notation is great. Learning how to use DAW is essential. There isn't anybody, really anybody working today who's not really well versed in how to use a DAW that's scoring films and TV shows, doing media music. Okay, so let's see. I got another 15 minutes. What can we do in 15 minutes? You know, I'm going to do one more thing. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of these two notes here. Yeah. Oh, why don't I use the Glock? Great. Make that a little softer so it blends in a little better. I'm just going to do a quick. And then, you know, right there, I'm feeling like maybe I should add a choir on that, right? But I'm keeping that up here, or maybe I'll have a little pad here or a note where I can, you know, check for choir, or, you know, have a note open on my phone. Check for choir at chord at measure 6 or whatever that is, 7, measure 7, right? So I'm keeping notes there. I don't want to mess up my markers up here by putting more stuff in there. Okay, so let's see. What's our next bit? So we're right here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's try that on the strings there. One more time. 1, 2. I want to get a better performance. So, like, this is what I would do if I was really... Well, darn it. 2, 1 and 2 and... Great. So I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to... Oh, so I'm sorry. Oh, darn it. No. Oh. Okay, so I've made a boo-boo here. Okay, let me talk to you while Pro Tools is playing around there. Save constantly. I haven't saved, and I made a mistake by not doing that. Okay, great. There's a key command that I always hit, so now I'm going to save, now that this is working again. That when I'm in a hurry, that I always hit, that sort of freezes Pro Tools. Now I'm going to duplicate this track, right, by right-clicking on the name, and I'm going to duplicate. And again, I don't want the playlist. All right, and this is going to be pizzicato strings. Strings. All right, and I'll go here. Okay, so there's no pizzicato here. But there's pizzicato in the violins. Yeah, that'll work here. Okay. Remove. And pizzicato. Right. So that'll be nice. You know what? I'm actually going to change this to the Spitfire strings because I want to have the orchestra be the pizzicato strings. So I'm going to go to Spitfire audio, and in other words, I only have violins pizzicato there. So BBC, and then we're going to have Discover, and let's do strings. Strings. Oh, they don't have a section here. All right, so okay. Well, there's another thing we can do. There's more ways to to do that. I can use expand, and I could go to strings. Pizzicato Hall. I don't like the way that one sounds. Let's see what legato and pizzicato. It sounds like there's another sound in there, which I don't really. It sounds bad, which I've never noticed before with all the years I've been using this strings. Let's see, where are they? Let's try the big pizzicato. Oh, I don't like that sound. All right, let's hear what this sounds like. No, I'm going to go back. So this is okay, we'll just use our violins. That sounds better. So this will be violins, pits. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this twice. And I'm going to call this I'm going to add more pizzicato, so it'll be celli, pits, and the next one will be basses, pits. I don't want. I wish I'm wondering if I can program a sound that has all of those layered together with keys. I'll have to explore that with this app to see if I can do that. But for right now, I'm going to right click and remove, and go here and go strings and go celli, pizzicato, and then go here and right click and remove, and go basses, pizzicato. Great. Okay. I'm going to switch when they're having that confrontation in the store or whatever that is in the shop. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so it's the measure with the D flat chord. All right, so I seem to have lost my score. Okay, so I'm having an idea here, right? That's woodwind. That's not move. Delete, remove. Okay, so I'm going to hold out the top note there, right? Great. So let me go and edit something there. That's expression. Great. And then great. Cool. Great. And then we could have winds long on that last note. Dippa dippa bip-bow. Yeah, that's pretty cool, but let's make the volume less. It's so loud. I'm not sure about the tubular bell. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and so now we need our bass notes here. So let me show you guys a little trick. I'm going to record the cello, and then I'm going to hold down Control. Oh, wait, I'm going to hold down Option. Whoops, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold down Command. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold down Shift. It's been a long time since I've done it. Now I can record both the cello inputs. Okay, so... Cool. Okay. Nope. One more time. Did I not record that? Whoops, sorry. Great. And then let's make the volume of that softer with the expression. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave this here for now.